It's been a while since you and I have talked. Laid out some things about a month and a half to 2 months ago, but I want to go on record and just talk about what Trump is doing to the Deep South because they don't want to admit that he's outsmarting them. Now, I'm not saying this because I'm so in love with Trump and I'm such a conservative, which I am. I'm saying this because it's just evident. They are throwing every roadblock that they possibly can to stop him from doing what he's doing. If the president was a Democrat, if he was, what would happen is they would be saying, hoorah, hooray, look what our president is doing. But just because it's President Trump, they can't stand it. So, what I want to do basically is just talk to you concerning what it's going to take to get rid of this dogma that the left has. Now, the left has been in control for so long now, they can't stand the fact that someone is challenging them. They don't mind the talks that the Republicans and the conservatives have been doing for decades. They don't mind that because what has been happening is the Republicans will say something and do nothing. They did that for years. They did that when Paul Ryan was Speaker of the House. They did that so many times. They would talk and they would say, "This is what we're gonna do." They get all the people riled up, and then they would do nothing. This went on for decades. Now, I started voting back in 1976 when President Carter was running for president. And then at that time, I was a Democrat. My family was a Democrat. That's all I knew. However, as time went on, I began to learn how a Christian should vote, certain things that we should not be complicit with. Abortion. No Christian should be complicit through their votes with abortion. Why? Because it's death. The Word of God tells us that Satan or the thief cometh only not but to steal, kill, and destroy. Now, so what is happening is those three examples. One, a life was stolen from God Himself to complete their purpose in which they were born. Two, you killed that baby, giving it no chance to live. And three, you destroyed the purposes of God in that child. But they don't want to talk about that. Most people, and some being Christians who are Democrat, say they argue more for the woman having the rights to do with her body. Well, she can do whatever she wants to do with her body. It's her body. Just don't ask me to pay for it. Just don't ask the taxpayer to pay for it. Just don't ask the government to fund it. You want to kill the baby that's inside of you. You want to call it a fetus. You want to call it a Ford Falcon. That's okay with me. You can call it whatever you want. It is still a child. Now, this is not about abortion. I was only using it as an example. Okay. So check this out. Trump is doing things that many of our most recent presidents dared to do. They would not do what this man is doing because he has kahunas to do what he says he's going to do. And most people, conservative presidents, going back a few generations, conservative presidents, they made claim on what they were going to do, but there was always something that stopped them from doing what they said they were going to do. Now, what did that do? Well, we've heard many of tapes about how Trump, when he was a much younger man, was asked would he ever run for president. That's when Oprah Winfrey was on his side. But because there's been a big mood change and there's been a social climate change, then those same people who was for Trump, check this out, are now against him. Why is that? Because he's going against a system, a rogue system that's trying to keep America and to produce a communistic Marxist nation. Why do you think Harvard is in the position that is in? Because they never thought that someone would dare to challenge what they are doing when it comes to supporting American Jews. Now, first of all, these people are Americans. These foreigners coming over here who's who has come to demonize the American Jews. There's the big picture of Jews. That's one thing, but these American Jews, these these foreigners who have come over here and spread their propaganda. Now you got much younger college kids hating Jews, not just American Jews, but Jews. But I want to stick to the American Jews. They have just as much rights to go to Harvard as anybody else. They have a right to go in peace. They have a right to go with safety. They have a right to be free. But what has happened? Well, since October 7th of 2023, there's been an all-out war against Jews, American Jews, Jews in general. It doesn't matter. There has been. So what Trump has done with Harvard University is they denied their ability to receive foreign students. Okay? Why? Because they weren't doing their homework. I'm going to adjust my screen a little bit. The school wasn't protecting the very people who could be citizens of this nation by birthright. Now, you tell me how that is fair. Oh, you're not going to try to tell me, oh, they were just talking about foreign Jews. No. First of all, we have an alliance with Israel. So those people who are in Israel and called Jews, we have an alliance with the nation of Israel. Now, so what Trump has done, he's denied them the rights to be able to receive foreign students. Now they're mad. All they had to do, check this out, all they had to do was get rid of the rhetoric that was going against Jews, and they would still have the students going there. All they had to do was to stop the people who were Palestinians coming against Jews. All they had to do was stop the rhetoric. Had they done that, ladies and gentlemen, they wouldn't be having the problems. So now you got the former president of Harvard going on his video podcast stating how Trump is doing unconstitutional things. Well, first of all, these foreign students who are here, hear me out. It's a privilege for them to be here. Otherwise, I mean, here's how I say that. They had to get a visa to come here to go to school, right? And if they had to get a visa to come here, then they couldn't come just because they wanted to come. They had to be accepted through educational visa that is given by the government, right? Okay, just stay with me. So they don't really have any quote unquote rights as a national citizen might. So these people who are going around saying we are coming against their rights, they don't have a right. They have a privilege, and their privilege protects them, but they have to be in order of what they say they came here for, instead of coming here to spread that other propaganda that they used to speak over in their own country. Okay? What am I trying to say? Stay with me. When I go into other countries, and I have been in other countries around the world, I couldn't go in the name of America because I wasn't, one, operating as an American diplomat. I wasn't operating as an American ambassador or any other sort. I wasn't speaking for the president. So I had to go in respect to the laws of the land in which I had gone. Okay. I couldn't go spouting off, I'm American, you do what I say. Couldn't do that. When I go to another country, I have to abide by the laws of that land. Okay. That's just given. And if I don't want to abide by the laws of that land, I should get on my horse and go. Well, what the media is doing, the media is telling everybody that anybody who gets a visa can do what they want to do. Well, that's not true. And every one of us should know better. You don't go in somebody else's house and just do what you want to do. What's the difference of that? Just because it's America versus your home. Someone comes to your house and starts using profanity in front of your parents or to you, and you don't like it. What does that tell you? That tells you this: they're not welcome in your home anymore. Why? Because they have misused the privilege of being there. Why is that so hard to understand? And speaking of that, why are we trying to put due process on criminals who have come over this land without, check this out, without permission of the state? They came by permission of a rogue president or presidential say so, because it's coming out that he really didn't know what he was doing. But regardless, when he accepted the election to be president, anything that came down that pike that went through his name goes to his account. He's complicit without knowing. If President Biden did not know that those illegal immigrants were coming over him through his name, he's still complicit by the fact that he ran for government. He allowed someone to put him in that seat, and then he just go vacant, dormant in the brains. What does that mean? That means that he is still held responsible and accountable for every soul that crossed that borders or those borders who came illegally, excuse me. He is still complicit. Why? Because he allowed himself to be used that way. Now, had he just retired from the office of government by being a vice president and gone home and whatever he had to do, none of that would have happened through his name. So now let me get back on point. We have a person in the office, Donald J. Trump, who is getting rid of the stupidness that's going on in our government, the nefarious ways that's going on in our government, that people don't want to let go of power. And it's quite apparent to me that what Brother Trump is trying to do is put things back in order so that when his 4 years is over, he can quit. He's only here because he have a mission to run and to straighten out this land from the nefariousness of the Deep South. Because of that, we have to be real with this reality. God has called us to be a people of righteousness, not just Americans, but people around the world. But we have a group of people, and some are Christians, who are standing by lawlessness. They are standing by lawlessness, and they don't realize that they are doing the same thing that Biden did when he was in office, not knowing what was going on around him. Some of these people who are called Christians, and I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt to say that they are being complicit to nefariousness of the enemy, because they won't stand up for righteousness. They won't stand up for the things that God called to be righteous, where they won't stand up in the area of being God fearing. So now it is time for all of us as Christians, all of us who are patriots, all of us who have moral standards about ourselves to stand up and be counted as those that stand for righteousness. Now, let me say this to you. If you don't know what the Constitution says, then you need to get one and get somebody to help you understand it before you just go off and believe anybody said the Constitution says this, or he's not following the Constitution. You don't If you don't know what it says, how can you verify that? How can you stand in that and say, yeah, he's not doing that? If you don't know, shut up. It's not that hard, people. If you want to know what the Constitution says, you can easily get one online. You can just download the Constitution. You can buy the booklet of the Constitution from any kind of bookstore. You can get it on Amazon if you wanted to. But people, why are we so afraid to know the truth about what the Constitution really says? We had a government, administration in the government, who was doing whatever they wanted to do because the man who supposedly had been president could not stop them. He was in the basement. That's why he didn't have a campaign. He was in the basement. But we had an administration, check this out, roughshod all over the people of this land. Now we're finding out from Doge that $900 billion. Now, I may have overspoken. No, it wasn't. It was $936 billion had been stolen from this land. Now, let me ask you this question. Is that what you want? Somebody to come and steal money from your hard-earned tax-paying money that you worked hard day after day after day after day, week after week, month after month. You paid your taxes, and all of a sudden you got a nefarious government that's rush-shot over your taxes, and baby, they not even thinking about you. But you miss your tax, you going to jail. They'll steal from you, but lock you up for not paying your taxes. So what am I saying to you? It's time for us to wake up and stop being stupid. We actually got a man that got balls. I'm going to say it real. Keep it real. We got a man in office that got balls to stand against the horridness of our government prior to him coming back in office, prior to him going into office. And I'm not saying he's perfect. Everybody knows that. He's already proven that. He's already proven he's not perfect. But you know what? To be born again, you don't have to be perfect. And that's the most wonderful privilege ever been honored to man, is to be born again and made into the image of Jesus Christ. Okay? And if that's the case, let me say this. Who are we to say we don't want him in office because he's not perfect? Well, you give me a man that is. Come on. I'm waiting on you to give it to me. You can't give it to me because nobody is perfect. Okay? Let's not beat a dead horse. We all know that. So why are we trying to act like this man can't make a mistake? At least he has the balls to stand up against the old deep South that's been controlling things for years, keeping Black people blinded from being a people of character. And I'm saying it truthfully, and I'm not backing down on it. Back in the 60s, we owned more entrepreneurial businesses back then than we do now, percentage-wise. Families stayed together a lot more than they do now, percentage-wise. People were about an education than we are now, percentage-wise. It's time for the people, my people, to Get their heads out of the sand. Don't be Democrat just because you're Democrat. Be Democrat because it matches your views and your principles. If you believe that a baby should be killed in the womb, then you should join that party that supports that. If that's not your view, why are you putting your voice out for that party? So I have found out that my vote is my voice. And if my vote is my voice, why am I speaking for the enemy of death? Why am I speaking for the enemy for a bunch of, I'm going to call them tyrants? When the BLMs came out and they started harming and damaging, not harming, but damaging buildings, and the government just gave them a free pass. Nobody went to jail. Nobody. Now you say, Ken, are you against black people? No, I'm black. How can I be against black people, y'all? Come on, be real. I'm just against foolishness. People vote these days without understanding why they're voting for things. Well, I'm going to put my voice and my votes out for things that honors God. And if I got to get a guy in the office who's a sledgehammer against the old South, by God, I want him to take that hammer and swing it every which way he can and hit every time he swings. But have you noticed how many district judges are rearing up to stop this executive, this CEO of the United States from doing things when they are beneath him? Now, you also said that no man is above the law. Well, obviously, you need to understand this man have a team of lawyers who supports the Constitution. Okay? And if they do, which I believe they do, Alina Habba, for one, is her name. If they do, then ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you this question. Don't you think he has enough sense to not try to rush shot over the Constitution? And the only people who really don't see that are those people who are bent on the left, who just want to do what they want to do and call, because every time Trump does something, what we consider good, they got something nefarious to say about it. I'm telling you, Trump could be the second coming, and they'll say crucified. Trump will heal cancer and AIDS, and they'll say he's no good. Anything the man does is bad in their minds. But let it be a Democrat president doing the same thing, is a good thing. That's where we are, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kenneth Bentley. I am so proud that you allowed me to share this with you. I only got on because I had this unction to say all the things that I've said. And I will be back soon so that I can pick up where I left off and we can actually talk about some more things. But I want you to understand this. God is looking for people who will stand with him with life, faith, hope, and love. Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the light, and no man and the life, and no man cometh unto the Father but by me. Now you say, why did you say that? What's that got to do with anything? Well, if he's the truth, if Jesus is the truth, then you need to start putting your vote in the truth factor, not stuff that promotes death. He said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. Well, if you're voting to kill babies, or you voting for a party that does condone killing a baby, then you're not standing with the way, the truth, and the life. If you're voting for a party that has been known to just lie on top of lie, on top of lie, on top of lie, you're not standing with the way, the truth, and the life. If you're standing for a party of a government that's taking you off what the Constitution to say to fit their narrative, you're not standing with the way, the truth, and the life. And I just wanted to help you with that. Now, this is Brother Kenny, as I said before. I appreciate you allowing me to be here, and we'll talk the next time we come together, okay? Bye bye.